now time for that discussion. South Sudan, 3 years on, and we're joined in studio by Rebecca Garang and South Sudan Ambassador. Welcome both.
Thank you.
How do you feel 3 years on?
Me or South Sudan?
You.
Somebody like me who's a wounded animal will feel sad because the baby, you know, is lying in the intensive care unit, and we are praying for this baby to live. But I wanted to say, happy birthday, South Sudan.
Ambassador, how do you feel for you?
Well, thank you, KTN, for inviting me once again here. We are celebrating the 3rd anniversary of our independence, and everybody in South Sudan is jubilant about this event because it had been a very long walk to this day. So everybody in South Sudan, wherever he or she may be, we extend our greetings to them and join them in spirit to celebrate this day.
Mm-hmm. Is there much to celebrate, Ambassador, if I'm asking for South Sudanese, apart from their freedom, 3 years on? What do they have to celebrate?
Yes, of course, there's that spirit of celebration. People had fought for more than 50 years just to get to this day. There's no point why people should not celebrate. The events that happened on December 15th, this was a coup that has failed, and the South Sudan is moving ahead. We are not going to dwell on the past. We are looking forward. Now that this problem is under discussion, the government is committed to achieve peace. But those who will not achieve peace also will not succeed. So the only way forward is just to get together and leave behind what has happened and get the way out, so how we can solve our problems. This is just the beginning. This is the young nation in the world. So once something happens like this, we're not going to just bog ourselves down. We have to move forward.
So from where you sit, it's nothing really. Things are under control.
Things are under control, yes.
Okay, Rebecca, do you feel the same? Do you feel that it's just, a storm in a teacup?
No, I don't feel the same. Because, yes, the independence of South Sudan is just. Yes, I understand. We achieve it through loss of a lot of life and a spill of a lot of blood for 21 years. It's jubilant, as he said, in the heart of everybody in order for us to be independent and raise our flag. But then what next? What next? Is the people of South Sudan going to eat the flag? Now, if what happened? Did we raise our flag in order for our people to continue dying? These are the questions that we are supposed to ask ourselves, and the government of South Sudan is supposed to ask themselves, because the leader of Southern Sudan now, President Salva Kiir, was part and parcel of a struggle, and he knows. But when we came to power, we did not take power as the power to the people, but people start to own powers, putting their interests first. And this thing can bring problem to the people. Because if you see Southern Sudan, you will not understand that country is rich. We are the poorest of the poorest of the whole world today. And for me, I can't understand why can we be called poor people. Yes, we can be called failed state. I will understand, because we have not used the machinery which can build a state. We are not using them. We are putting our interests first and not the interests of people of South Sudan. We were more democratic under the struggle than now in Southern Sudan. So I can't see where people will say that Southern Sudan is now jubilant. How many people are going to be on the street of South Sudan today on the 9th of July? And July, for somebody like me, is a very important month for me, because that's where my husband was sworn in Khartoum. And then this is the month where the flag of South Sudan was raised. And this is the month where my husband lost his life. And as a believer, when my husband lost his life, I stood strong and said that it's God's will. But people of South Sudan and South Sudan will continue to go on. And I wanted to see that Southern Sudan, which has taken the life of people of South Sudan, will prosper. I need to see prosperity, because so that a widow or an orphan child will not say that my father or my mother or my husband died in vain. We wanted to see South Sudan prosper at the third birthday, because that's a very important month where your child start to talk and walk and make funny things, and everybody, even if you are hungry, you are smiling. But Southern Sudan, the flag is sinking in the blood of people of South Sudan.
All right, Joy.
Well, there's sad events that are going on in South Sudan, and of course everyone at this point would have mixed feelings about whether or not at some point South Sudan is going to get out of the fragility that it's going through right now or experiencing at the moment. But 3 years on, you know, there's also mixed reactions as well. Knowing that you talked about Dr. John Garang, God rest his soul, but then do you think that we are, or South Sudan is capable of living and fulfilling a legacy that he started and a dream that he once had for South Sudan?
In this situation where we are in now, no, we are not living that. We need a leadership. Southern Sudan is crying for leadership. There's no leadership. We need somebody who will lead the people of South Sudan, people who will, somebody who will direct them at this moment. And the vision and the objectives of the SPLM were not for John Garang, were for the people of South Sudan, and people of South Sudan died for that. Because if it was for John Garang, many people would have not gone there to die. It was for the people of South Sudan, and he brought peace to the people of South Sudan, and he left. Now it is for us. The dead has done their job. They have raised their flag, and the flag is up. But for the living, is for us now to see how can now we put the machinery of the government, how can we deliver to our people what we were fighting for. Because we had a call. We just did not fight for the sake of fighting. We had a call, a just call, and the whole world came behind us, and we moved the world for our message, the message that we delivered. The whole world moved. Even we moved the Security Council from New York to Kenya and again to Juba. It has never happened. But because the call of people of South Sudan was just. But that's not what we are doing now. And that's why we say that we need a reform. We need to sit down and talk so that we can see how can we come back on the track and move our people forward. Nobody said that we wanted to remove the government. Right. Nobody said that we did not want our president. This is our president, and we knew that we were behind him, and that's why we called for dialogue. We wanted to dialogue so that we see how can we pave the way and give a message, deliver a message to the people of South Sudan. Right. This is what we were saying.
Great. Ambassador James Morgan, 3 years of independence, or of South Sudan as an independent state, we are seeing a lot that's going on. And while there could be a few states that are experiencing, moderate peace or moderate stability, but this has affected the entire country. What is there to celebrate 3 years on?
Joyce, once again, let me be very clear here. What Madam Rebecca is saying here, I didn't expect that she can say this, because what happened now in South Sudan happened in 1991. She was there. The same Riek Machar did the same coup. It took us 10 years until Riek Machar came to his sense. Then he came back to the SPLM. Now 6 after that, we get into this CPA. We lost the leader, Dr. John. Salva Kiir is the only survivor of the 5 members of the High Command. Madam Rebecca is aware of all this. I don't understand why she is telling us what is going on now, because the same thing is the same vice that the people of South Sudan fought in 1991. So many lives of people lost, especially in her area, in Bor area, many people died because of the same person. Now, what happened is that the South Sudan, after the independence, She was the first Minister of Roads and Transport. She could tell us what she has done on the roads. Now, when we talk of development, she was a part of it. Me, I'm a representative of the country. I'm a diplomat. I don't care who rules the country, but she was there. She was there in the first cabinet. She was a Minister of Roads and Transport. She could tell us what she has done on the roads.
But at the moment,
let me tell you, what is happening now, what is there to celebrate is our independence. The coup that has happened failed. So the people have to move on with their lives. The coup failed, and everybody, including Madam Rebecca, knew that there was a coup in Juba. Nobody can tell us that there was no coup in Juba. There was a coup in Juba, and we are not going to argue this one. This one is known. Tiger Battalion was captured. Who captured it? It was the coup makers who captured the Tiger Battalion. Now, let me go ahead. What you are asking me, what are we there to celebrate?
Exactly, because
we are celebrating the gains that we have achieved after the independence.
What are some of those gains?
The gains of that we have achieved, that we have a government, we have the institutions, we have at least achieved our independence. And the 3 years, before the 3 years could end, now we are celebrating this independence in the middle of the war that is imposed on the people of South Sudan. But the majority of the people of South Sudan are enjoying the peace and they're enjoying the celebrating, because it's the war itself that people are talking about. It is not really all over South Sudan. This war is just in Riek Machar's areas. And even the towns that he took, because the mutiny was within our army have regained these towns. So we have to celebrate the recapturing of all the areas that Riek Machar took when his people mutinied from within. We are celebrating that the SPLF forces are in control of the country, the rebels are in the villages, and we have a lot to celebrate, because the government that we have, we also elected it. Salva Kiir he did not impose himself. After we lost our leader, Salva Kiir was there, standing on the side of our
is he still advocating for the same ideologies that Dr. John Garang was advocating for? Because what we're seeing now is a blame game. We're seeing a blame game between President Salva Kiir and Dr. Riek Machar, and then this is actually affecting the peace talks that are ongoing in Addis.
Yes. How do we expect Riek Machar to implement the vision of Dr. John, when Riek Machar even used to call Dr. John a dictator? He rebelled against Dr. John. It is not a surprise today that Riek Machar is rebelling against Salva. He rebelled against Dr. John. He called him a dictator. Madam Rebecca is aware of that. She knows everything that Riek did.
Mama Rebecca, what do you have to say about that? What do you have to say about the fact that the ambassador is saying that Dr. Riek Machar did not agree with some of Dr. John Garang's ideologies?
Yes. You know, these are the problem we have in Southern Sudan. We don't deal with issues. We deal with individuals. This is our problem. If the president takes the administration to the people of South Sudan and leave Dr. Riek Machar and leave Salva Kiir and deal with the issues which are pertaining for the country, this problem would have not come. Secondly, Dr. Riek is the son of that country. President Salva is the son, and I'm the daughter of that country, including the ambassador. All of us are the children of that country. For how long are we going to continue scratching the old wounds at our back instead of healing and come together? This is what Dr. John did. Yes, he did that in 1991 in our very eyes as the son of that country. He did not have a patient at that time, but it was against Dr. John. And it is the same Dr. John who negotiated with him and brought him back to the leadership of the SPLM and say that the problem is not between me and Dr. Riek. The problem is between us and our enemy. So let us be together so that we defeat our enemy together. And that is spirit of forgiveness has to be in us in order for us to take our people to cross them to the other side of the river. Right. But if you continue to remind ourselves about the past, we will not look forward. I myself, I lost my husband. A dear person to me. Look at me. Nobody will tell me today that this woman lost her husband.
Right.
Why? Because my husband, I say that my husband is the price is right for the country. Because if the country does not lose people like those of Dr. John, how can you achieve that? And I look forward because I wanted to see a Southern Sudan which is vibrant, which is prospering. People are very happy on the street, no insecurity, there is water, there is all the social services are there. But if we continue to come and sit here with the ambassador, talk about who's going to be blamed and like that and not dealing with the issues, we will not move forward, even here in the studio.
Yes.
We will not be going anywhere. We need to deal with the issues. What are the problems? Yes, Dr. Riek did that in 1991. But this time, did Dr. Riek do it or not? This is the issues that we should be discussing.
All right.
But for me, I would say that he did not do it. This thing was imposed on him because all of us called for a change. Why targeting Dr. Riek? The man was running for his dear life.
Right. And in order to deal with to have a way forward, you have to deal with the problems first.
Yes.
State the problems and then find a way forward to them. July 2013, President Salva Kiir dissolved his cabinet, and among the people who were relieved of their duties was the then vice president, that is Dr. Riek Machar, and from then on, that there's been all kinds of political instabilities in South Sudan, and this has been a drag push and pull situation all over the place. And even looking at the resolve to try to bring the two sides together for them to discuss certain issues. Just recently, Dr. Riek Machar was here in Kenya, and of course, President Salva Kiir has spoken to different media. The issues going on in Addis in Ethiopia, there seems to be something that's not right. Is there an agenda that is being followed? What are we expecting? Because what we are seeing now is the people of South Sudan suffering at the hands of two disagreeing forces.
Madam Joyce, once again, let me tell you that there are two things that Madam Rebecca said here. That what Riek did in 1991, he was forgiven. Nobody held him responsible. Even though he killed more than 13,000 people in her own village, nobody is holding him responsible for that now. We have selected our time of elections to be in 2015, next year. So it was until 2015, if President Salva would not call for elections, then people would start complaining. But we are still waiting for 2015, that time that the elections was going to take place. You also have mentioned something very nice here, that the reshuffle of July. Let us discuss the issues that Madam Rebecca is saying. Is that the reason why there was a fight? Was it because of the reshuffle? Because if it is because of the reshuffle, in any country, in any government, the president has the constitutional rights to reshuffle his government. And then again, Riek was saying that he was a running mate of the president. There is nothing called running mate in our constitution. Many people campaign to bring our SPLM. SPLM is not owned by an individual. When Dr. John died, all of us cried because we lost a leader. But there was somebody also who was with Dr. John, and that person was General Salva Kiir, who had been with him throughout. Even when the people defected and left Dr. John, Salva did not leave him. He stood with him until the last hour. So when Dr. John died, people said, we wipe our eyes because Salva is there to take over. People call him Joshua.
Well, but don't you think
but
that...
now, the point now is this. The point now is about, we are discussing the issues. What are the issues? The issues that we don't like to go back to the coup, because that history will take care of that issue. Coup happened, the history will record it. Now we are going ahead to the peace talks, which is now going on in Addis Ababa. Our president said, what has happened, we are not going to dwell on it. But I come to these peace talks without any conditions attached. This is what the president said. So many conditions were attached by Riek himself, but all these conditions were accepted. Even the choice of Addis Ababa was Riek's choice.
But there were conditions
No.
from both sides. President
Yes.
Salva Kiir had his own conditions.
What were the conditions from our
Dr.
side? The
Riek
government
Machar
didn't have
had
any
his own
condition.
conditions as well. And if they were not agreeing on what
Yes.
exactly should come first,
Yeah.
for instance, President Salva Kiir disagreed he ruled out, in fact, any kind of interim government being formed in South Sudan. And this is an ideology that maybe some people would think at this moment, maybe that is what South Sudan needs. Because looking at the people who are suffering at the expense of what's going on there, and people who are at war over ideologies that maybe are, in a way, could be described as self-centered, what do you make out of the fact that President Salva Kiir might not exactly be looking at a vision that the way forward for South Sudan is for peace to prevail and stability to prevail in the country?
He has invited you to come to Juba. You are going to come to Juba and talk to him. I already communicated your invitation. This is their official invitation. Salva has never refused the interim government. But the interim government also cannot be formed when the war is going on. This ceasefire had been broken by the rebels several times. And the position of the government was just simple, that, okay, instead of the international community blaming both sides, as they always say that both sides broke the ceasefire, we said, okay, bring this monitoring and the verification force on the ground so that they see who really violates. Up to now, the international community has not responded. And up to now, as we speak, the rebels are shelling our positions. But Salva said no SPLA should retaliate. Many people got killed last week in Garang because of the shelling. We don't like to dwell on these issues. We want to move forward. The interim government has not been rejected, but we can form the interim government when there is a silence of guns. And this silence of guns must come through the negotiating table, not through the fighting. We are not refusing anything. The government is not refusing anything at all. But it is the rebels who have always rejected. But here, Madam Rebecca, she is not representing any side. She is not representing the rebels. And you ask her what is her title, she didn't tell you, but she is still the advisor of the president up to now. She has not resigned. The president has not dismissed her because of what we know what she is. She is the mother of the nation and nobody can dismiss her. She should bring peace.
And that is what she's trying to advocate for. Let me take you back to the fact that...
When she's talking always against the government, how can she be the mother of the nation? She's the mother of all. She should also tell Riek that what you are doing, you were forgiven in 1991, and now again you are doing it in 2013. You cannot make two wrongs at the same time, the same person, and the whole community, international community is saying, what is wrong with the people of South Sudan?
Mama Rebecca, let's
hear. It is not the people of South Sudan, it is one person who is doing everything.
Let her speak, because we are looking at a country that passed a referendum with 98.83% of South Sudanese agreeing to secede from North Sudan. And if we have created this country that is meant to develop, a country that is now being described as the most fragile in Africa and the world, it's an embarrassment at this point in time. But Mama Rebecca, let's hear from you. What would you say to what Ambassador James P. Morgan is saying?
One thing, what I wanted to clarify first was when he continued to repeat coup and coup, and that thing is not realistic. And he knows, the ambassador knows that there was no coup. There was nothing called coup. And especially after the 4 of former detainees were taken to court, there was nothing called coup. And that's why they are out. My husband and President Salva were soldiers before the mutiny against the government in Khartoum. And by association, I became a soldier, knowing for what my husband was doing. Is this the way the coup is done? No. You cannot, as a soldier, possibly make a coup and go to bed and sleep so that you will be caught in the morning. The only person who left was Dr. Riek, because Dr. Riek was forced out by his own people. I was sleeping in my room. That one, everybody, even in the region, is dismissive of what is called coup. Don't let us talk about it. And that's why before I said that, let us deal with the issues. Don't let us play a blame game between ourselves. If you say that Madam Rebecca is the mother of the nation, then what am I doing? That's why I'm not with Dr. Riek, I'm not with Salva, because I know the loss of life that we lost in the country, and I'm the victim. And if I see that we have deviated from what we call for, I will be outspoken, and Ambassador knows. Before, while people were still in their ministries, I was talking about that, and even the president knows. I even told the president, I said, Mr. President, as his advisor, I told him, Mr. President, your government is going to fail because your government is big on the head and is small in the body. We have a decentralized system of the government where you have to have a lean government from the top and come down to the bottom bigger, because you are taking all the resources to the people in the states. We didn't do that. And the ambassador is aware. And I didn't want it to come here and point finger to the ambassador like I and ambassador are having the problem. What we have here and why we are here is for the people of Southern Sudan and the benefit of those who will listen to what we are saying. I'm the mother of the people of Southern Sudan, and I believe, and that's why I'm worried, what we are doing is not for the well-being of people of Southern Sudan.
Right.
That's why I'm talking. I'm not saying that Dr. Riek is perfect, but is now out of the government, and the president is supposed to shoulder everything. As they say in the Bible, you see, let the strong carry the burden of the weak. So if you are the president here, you are supposed to carry everything, all the responsibility. In our convention of 1994, Dr. John was being blamed. Oh, Dr. John is a dictator, Dr. John is doing this, Dr. John is doing that. He called for our convention. And when the convention said, people were talking and this, he said, okay, these are the two baskets. The basket of the good things and the basket of the bad things. You people of South Sudan take the basket of the good things, and I will take the basket of the bad things. That's the leadership. Whether you did it or you did not do it, you carry it because you are in the leadership. So why should I praise the president when he's the father of everybody now?
As a mother of the nation, you've seen what is wrong with the country at the moment.
That's right.
And you've seen that probably what Dr. John Garang was standing for is not what is going on at the moment, is not what the current leadership is standing for.
That's right.
Where is the problem? How do we move on from the problems that South Sudan is facing at the moment?
There are a lot of problems. The formation of our government, yes, we form our governments, it was okay, but we started, one step was corruption. The second step was nepotism. The third step, not delivering the service to the people of South Sudan. This is a problem. And since we started, he was asking before, let Madame Rebecca tell you she was the first minister of roads. Yes, I will accept that I have failed. What about the other ministers who came after me? What have they done? And why didn't they deliver? Is it because Madame Rebecca was sitting on that seat? I have accepted my weaknesses, not because I'm a woman, but for things that I know and I don't want to talk about it. But let the people, let the people ask, what about the ministers who came after Madame Rebecca? What did they do? And these are the problem of today that we are talking, that nothing was being done. Money of the resources of South Sudan went to the pocket of the individual. And we know, and he knows, Ambassador knows. But I cannot blame him because he's in the seat. He's a representative of his president. What do I expect him to say? So he can talk like that, but Madame Rebecca is the mother. I can say what I know is the truth. I cannot mislead my people. Right. I can't.
So
I'm a believer. I believe in God. And if I lie with my tongue, my heart, God knows what I'm saying.
What do you think about the progress of the peace talks in Addis at the moment in regard to bringing South Sudan to peace and restoring stability?
You know, I was surprised to see what is happening in Addis Ababa, because I may be wrong, but I say that it is these are the brothers and sisters who quarrel and have a problem. It's not like the peace talk of Machakos, Naivasha. We were dealing with our enemies, but now you are dealing with your brother. And now who's the big brother of those who are in Addis Ababa? It's President Salva. You should always swallow the bitterness on behalf of your brother. You don't need to say everything like you are equal. You are not equal. I thought that people will come to understanding and put things on the table. And the president should realize, because what happened is that our president said that he does not make a mistake. And this is why Addis Ababa will never go forward. We must always accept Like, for example, when we talk about the interim government, like the ambassador was saying, the president is saying that, somebody saying that interim government, without me, it is a red line. Then what are you saying with the red line? You are saying that people must continue to die. This is what the president is saying. Madam Rebecca is not the president. You give me the seats today, I will swallow my pride and say, Dr. Riek, I'm very sorry. If I made a mistake, and I know he did not do anything good, I will say, I'm sorry. For the sake of the people of South Sudan, I will swallow my pride and say that, Dr. Riek, let us sit on the table and put everything on the table. This is what I'm saying. Tell us what you are saying. And let us compromise. Even if he's going to take my life for the sake of people of South Sudan, like what happened to Dr. John, President Salva should have done that. So that Addis Ababa, I thought that it will be just 1 month and we are finished. Well, I'm surprised.
Ambassador, the country is a mess at the moment. Someone here is saying, Joe Juma is saying, South Sudan is a total mess after separation, short-lived freedom, enemy within, just failure at the moment is what we're seeing in South Sudan. But that aside, let's look at the current state of South Sudan. Millions have fled the country. We're seeing an outbreak of cholera, which of course has claimed a number of lives. Thousands of people have died in just this conflict that broke out in 2013. And much as we want to move on from talking about a coup or an attempted coup, you know, there's a problem at hand that we are seeing. And to move on from what's happening or to move on from this problem, we need to pose solutions to what's going on at the moment. And can we for a moment stop the blame game and look at exactly what is wrong in South Sudan?
Joyce, the ongoing peace talks in Addis Ababa, we have no control of it. The failure of the talks came as a result of the rebels walking out from the talks. And the reason of them walking out was because of 2-3 things. One, they said they didn't want the group that were the so-called detainees, but we call them the coup suspects. We are not going to talk about coup anymore. If we move forward, this 11, the group of 11, the leader of the coup himself, Riek Machar, wanted these people to be released. They were released in bits. 7 were the first release, and then the 4 were released. All of them came to Kenya, and then from Kenya they went to Addis Ababa. They wanted to join the peace talks. The government said, let us talk with the people who are carrying guns, because we are talking about ceasefire. We are not fighting with you. You are not armed. How can we cease fire with you? So the rebels insisted that these people must be included. But these people came and said, no, we are not with the rebels. Now, when they said that they are not also with the rebels, now came in the negotiators. The negotiators said these people must be included. The government said, okay, let them come in. The rebels said no. Since these people said that they are not with us, they must not come in. In the fear that there's going to be power sharing, you have to make these things very important. One of the most important things that the rebels did not like this group of 11 was because of power sharing. They thought that if there was going to be a power sharing, this group of 11 were going to take part, which now, since they have rejected them, the rebels, then there's no need for them to come in. The government said let them come in. Now the rebels are the one refusing. This is one of the reasons of the walkout in Addis Ababa. Another reason for the walkout, they said the civil society from the rebel side was not represented. What is the civil society? Civil society are the people who are doing their businesses, people who are professionals, people who are students, maybe people who are religious-based or faith-based organizations. These organizations, they don't exist in the rebel areas because these are just villages. There's no such people there. The people who are supposed to go and sit as a civil society on the rebel side were the people from Nairobi here, people from Addis Ababa, people from Khartoum, people from Kampala. The government did not control anybody not to go. So they walk out now. The IGAD decided that since the rebels have walked out, then they suspend the talks. We didn't suspend the talks. It was the negotiators who suspended the talks. We are eager and we even want this thing to progress very fast. And then we come to an end of this. We want to conclude.
So what do you expect the outcome?
The outcome, of course, the outcome of the talks will be, first of all, one thing is about the peace. The terms of peace that we will all agree. And then there must be silence of guns. There must be no guns. then now we will talk about the governance. Because we cannot just talk about governance when people are still shelling us, when people are still fighting.
And what kind of governance are we talking about?
We're talking
after all of this.
Whatever government that will be agreed upon by both sides. I cannot predict here what kind of government, but the both sides will agree. The rebels will have to suggest what they want, because they are saying that they are aggrieved people. They have to say what they want. And then they have to agree with our negotiators, with the approval of the government, that okay, this is what we want, let it be done. If it is a government of national unity, if it is a government what they call the transitional period government, if it is a power sharing. But one time I even talked to you about that. I said power sharing that we have seen in most cases here in Africa, it happened here in Kenya, it happened in Zimbabwe. The power sharing came as a result of the dispute in elections. But in absence of any dispute, now that this thing has come, like what he said, that the president has to shoulder this. And that's what the president is doing. The president, if the president did not agree for peace talks, our team would have not gone to Addis Ababa. But the president from day one, the president said, he said, I call my brother Riek Machar to come so that we sit down. From day one.
Was he just calling in words and meaning it? Or
no, he was serious. And then immediately the peace team was constituted. And these people walked to Addis Ababa.
Oh, Rebecca, what is your comment to that?
But you know, whatever she says is not really what I know. She knows everything and I know everything. But she doesn't like to tell the truth.
Goodness.
She doesn't.
Let's push away
She's
forward.
not telling the truth.
Let's push away forward for South Sudan. From what he said, did President Salva Kiir say, I'm welcome to talks, and mean it? Or he was just saying it in words and not meaning it in action?
He cannot put words into my mouth and say that I know and I'm not telling the truth. The press will tell you, just ask when they went to Addis Ababa and they signed that peace our way forward that they signed in Addis Ababa. Did they shake hands? And who was supposed to extend the hand of greeting first? It was the president. But when we saw it, all of us, and you go back to that, it's not Madam Rebecca now lying. Riek wanted to do like this and the president walked out and went. If he said that, he said, my brother, come. Then what happened? Why didn't they shake hands after they signed? Is this Madam Rebecca doing? No. I'm a mother and I can never, and I will repeat it again, I can never mislead the people of South Sudan. Never. People of South Sudan is everything for me. Because what happened? We die individual and Southern Sudan and the people will remain always. And that country is for our children. And we must say the truth. Nothing but the truth, and God will be our witness. I will never, in my heart, inside there, I will never mislead my people. So what the ambassador is saying to tell me that Madam Rebecca is not saying the truth. I already helped him before, say that he's sitting on the chair. And so he's representing his president.
Right.
So whatever he said, that I'm not going to criticize him. Why is he saying this? Because he's an administrator. So what he said, but Madam Rebecca is a politician. I said what I see. Even though I'm not in the parliament, still I'm the representative of my people and I don't want to mislead them. So what the ambassador is saying is not correct because the president does not want the peace. If he wants the peace, why is he saying that if he's not in the interim? How can he be in the interim? Not even Dr. Riek should be in the interim government. They should wait until the interim period is finished, then the election is prepared, then they go for election and then they campaign. Secondly, he talked about the political detainees as the coup makers. Why is he still passing this when these people were acquitted in the court of law, and he's still talking about them as the coup
suspects,
coup suspects or coup suspect. They are not coup suspect because they are acquitted and that's why they are out. So please don't let us aggress ourselves because we are at peace. We want peace. So what the ambassador is saying is not correct. These are his brothers. Even if they are wrong, he should not be the one to say that. Yes, he's working for the president. He's working for the president or for the government. He can say whatever he thinks that will please the government. But I'm saying what will please the people of South Sudan and what they want to hear. Yes.
All right, let's wind this up. Ambassador, what are your final remarks at the moment? South Sudan at 3. Briefly, let's hear your final remarks.
Yes, once again, most of the people of South Sudan, as they celebrate this day today. I join to congratulate them for their long walk to the freedom. And I want to inform them that as a new nation, this is just the first test. The first test that we look forward to pass. We are not going to fail because of this test. We will pass this test and we go forward. And we still know that as we still live in this world, as a country or as a nation, so many trials lie ahead. Let us not take this as the end of the day, or let us not take it as the end of the South Sudan. We have come a long way. And in our journey to where we arrive today, we have come through this.
Okay, we've come through this. Mama Rebecca, very briefly, we're out of time. My director is telling me we're either going to be taken off or something like that. But let's hear your final remarks to this.
Yeah, what I wanted to tell people of South Sudan, the flag and the independence of South Sudan belong to them. But as the mother, I wanted to tell them we are very sorry, and I'm very sorry for what had happened in Southern Sudan. We have to put our heads and our mind together of how we can overcome this. The people of South Sudan need to think, because these things, none of us will have to resolve it, but the people of South Sudan are the one to resolve it. So I wanted to tell them that, yes, you work for this. Your sons and daughters died for this long walk of freedom to freedom. It is, and now, at the end of the day, we have turned the table around, bloody table, we turn it around, and really distorted our history. And that's why I'm saying that as a mother, for the blood spill and the people who are continuing to die, I'm really sorry for that. And God will bless the people of South Sudan.
Right.
We will correct these things in shortest time possible. God will give us wisdom of how we can resolve this, because we as the people, we don't have that wisdom, and we should not rely on our own intelligence. We should rely on our Lord Jesus Christ. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador James P. Morgan. Thank you for coming. Mama Rebecca Garang, thank you so much for making time to speak to us about the state of South Sudan at the moment. South Sudan marks 3 years today after seceding from North Sudan on the 9th of July 2011. Well, I'm Joy Doreen Biira, and together with James Smart, we'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.